Yo, what is good, everybody, man? Welcome back to another Kids Room Podcast episode, man. Brought to you by yours truly. We're going to be going over something that is so simple, but yet so hard, so difficult, right? Um, when we pray, do you ever feel like sometimes like you're really just talking to yourself, or you feel like God isn't listening, or you don't really know what to pray for, or how you're gonna get through what you're getting through. You don't know what you're talking about, but you all you could do is just listen to your own voice and your own thoughts sometimes. And we don't really know what that silence even means, right? So this episode is titled "When Faith Feels Silent." A lot of work that happens in the dark actually comes to light, right? So if we are not doing the right things, right, the right way sometimes, and we all make mistakes, we all fall short each and every day. Uh, Even myself included, make mistakes each and every day. You know what I'm saying? But we want to be able to grow from it, though, right? If you know that you're doing wrong, you still trying your best every day, a little bit more and more, and then um, one no, you know what I'm saying, is good for you, right? A few no's is probably going to be even better for you. And then once that becomes a habit, then you have moved on from something that you probably shouldn't have been doing, right? So, but silence doesn't always mean absence, though. God's silence doesn't always mean that He's not with us, but He can be doing a lot for us, but behind closed doors, behind the curtains, right? God could be talking to us in many different ways. We're used to Him talking to us one way. He could be trying to talk to us in a different way, show Himself in a different way of life that we can see Him as. That you can see Him as. Uh, but just because you don't hear God all the time doesn't mean He's not working. He's just working in different ways. So whenever you got that big promotion, or started making more money here and there, or different opportunities started to come your way and things started to happen better for you, it's because sometimes those silent moments of you not feeling like He's there, not feeling as if He's listening to you, those are the times that He's probably just watching us, right? Seeing if we're going to be obedient to maybe the last things that we feel as if He wanted us to do and move towards. And then you start to figure things out and you trying to be more disciplined, right? um, and that ultimately pushes you to want to, somewhat seek Him even more in that silent moment, right? In that silent season. And Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 8, it says, "The Lord Himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." Right? And that's a verse of strength. So if you know that He will never leave or forsake you, right? He's gone, but he goes before us and will be with us. So He already knows what's happening in the future, and He's walking us through the present to get to that point in time, right? To try to have us do the right things, make the right decisions, and knows that we're gonna come up short, but He's still with us and allowing us to get up and to do and just to do better each and every day. Um, it's a waiting room, right? A waiting room of faith, because our brains are a muscle as well, right? Discipline is working your faith muscle, right? So it's a mental thing, but it's also a spiritual thing, right? So you genuinely would want to do better. You'll take those necessary steps. You won't always talk about it, but you'll be about it. You'll move towards those things, right? In Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31, it says, But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles," right? So you wait on God, you go through these times of discipline and silence and all these things, and then boom, when something happens for you, it's almost as if, of course, God was already putting that in the works for that, but He wanted you to work too. So we have to work as well. We can't just expect God to um, meet us 100% of the way. We have to meet Him halfway, if not a little bit more than that, right? So we get frustrated, though. We get upset sometimes because we're not hearing the right things, or doing or we're not getting the signs and everything like that. But sometimes I even catch myself, I'm you thinking about and asking for new things so much or so often, you haven't even given God the chance to answer your previous prayer. So if we are continuing to be consistent, right? Not just with our routines and things like that, but being consistent with God, which means uh, being content with whatever season that you're in, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Being content in whatever season that you are trying to be in. So you're growing that way. So as you're being content, God is realizing that, and he's like, well, that person can handle more responsibility, right? So when you make more money, when you're doing more things in life, it's more responsibility. So when God gives us dominion, which he already did over the earth and things like that, and the things that we have, right? But if we do not choose to believe in it and have so much doubt, we lose dominion. But if the way we gain dominion again is by taking over ourselves first, and then everything else around you will just follow through, right? Um, Faith is something that you have to listen differently to sometimes. Maybe God isn't silent; He's speaking in new ways. In First Kings chapter 19, verses 11, and after the fire came a gentle whisper. Right? Okay. So God doesn't always speak, and I mean, I'm not gonna say he is just a voice in your head or anything like that, but sometimes God will speak differently in things. He will speak through TV shows, friends, family, I don't know, whatever that you are mainly interested in, he's going to somewhat at times relate to that through you, right? Okay, so then he's gonna move. You gonna have to pay attention to how these things are working out for you. It's very difficult for people to see things the same way. So what we have to do is to ask God for conviction, ask God for vision, ask God for revelation, and move forward with that. Um, Quiet seasons often train your spiritual hearing because you are continuing to be disciplined. You are you end up giving up asking for what you want all the time, and you start to want what other people may want, right? You might want to help others more. You might want to be more responsible, or but be more responsible for things that you probably should be more responsible for with it, which is yourself, which is your mindset, which is your emotions, and moving forward with that. Um, Staying, which goes into my next point, which is staying steady in the quiet. So when you are continuing to be disciplined, even when God isn't giving you the answer right away, or telling you no, or having things not work out and having you pick the hard road, I have to think of it even myself as, man, you could have hard weeks and these hard moments, hard days, and it's just you have to think about, is it hard or is it just challenging you? Because if it's challenging you, then it's supposed to be hard. But if it's really hard, then maybe you're not trying hard enough. Okay? So, if it's challenging you, it's gonna be hard, and that's what it's supposed to be until it becomes easy, and then there's another challenge after that. But there also could be a breakthrough after that. Okay, so with a breakthrough comes challenge. So if you're facing a challenge, you're gonna have a breakthrough, and then when you have that breakthrough, that is going to play a part of your next challenge per se. You're going to have another tool, another resource that God gave you in order for you to move forward with that. So keep your daily routine, pray even when it feels empty. I have times when I pray and I'm like, I don't know what I really want to say. And but that's okay to feel that way. That's okay to question and do those things, but do it in the way that is going to be righteous. Do it in a way that it comes from a not a arrogant place, but actually a conscious place, a place where you're thinking about things before you say it, and the things that you are dreaming and having visions on and what you're trying to do is so difficult that you are basically having to, talk to God about it. And I feel like that's a very relevant thing, especially as you get older. You are becoming more wise, more knowledgeable about things. So you start to ask God, really, what am I supposed to be doing? Because I don't want this life to be a waste. It goes by fast. You're supposed to enjoy every day and not to worry and do these things. So what can I focus on right now? A part of myself that's going to bring more out of me at the end of the day. Because maybe God's silence isn't the stage is the stage before being set for your next chapter, right? So God being silent is not him leaving you. God being silent is him watching you, seeing how you're going to work through this responsibility and that challenge and this trial and this tribulation, and then finding a solution and going through it and pushing through it, and still talking to him and seeking him, even as he may be quiet, but he's still whispering every now and then to you to keep going and to do those things. You have to listen to that, right? Don't lose your faith because it's quiet, but just know that it's proof that it's work that cannot be seen yet. I talk about all the time, progress is something that cannot be seen. So if it's the moment that you have that success, it's all the times that you were being disciplined and moving forward. Those are the times that is showing the end, right? The resolution, the profit, right? The end goal. So in Romans 8:28, chapter 8, verse 28, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him. So if you're sitting in a moment of silence, in a season of silence, don't do it casually. Do it with intention and do it regularly. Continue to be disciplined, continue to sit in it and to not wallow in it, but to be encouraged in it and not discouraged in it. Because when you make a movement, God is right there with you, and he's just doing these other things for you. So then whenever you are making these plans and you are doing these things, and he's like, well, I gotta do a sidetrack because you want to do these things, but because we are continuing to ask for other things, whenever he gets silent, take that as a reason to stop asking and start seeking him and moving forward and doing those things, and watch how he blows your mind. That's all I got for y'all today, man. Hopefully y'all feeling loved and blessed as always, bro. Make sure you check out the link tree. Make sure you checking out, the YouTube, or subscribing, liking, commenting, Instagram, doing those things like that, bro. And that's it. That's all I got for y'all, man. I'll catch y'all on the next one.